Today on the Brand Aid podcast.
But we've got to put that over there, identify it, leave it there, and keep moving forward. But we've got to keep moving forward, because when we reach back trying to hit a man on his head, you know the energy this costs?
Yes.
Look at this. When I'm here swinging back here trying to get you from, it keeps me from doing what? Coming forward.
Exactly.
It takes my energy. I need to actually turn and actually extend myself. And that's that entire mentality. And that's what I believe.
Welcome to Brand Aid, where we answer the question, what does it take to launch your own brand revolution, create evolution, and who are the people that help you foster connection, community, contribution, and currency for a brand built to last? You will also meet brands changing the world and the lives of those they serve. Here's your host, Cheryl Hodgson.
Welcome to part 2 of my in-depth conversation with Angeles Echols of Educating Young Minds. I want to go back to a minute because I think this is really important. You talked about earlier about how, people would say, well, you don't, in order to get the big endowments from the big foundations, I mean, it's like, okay, well, you need to service more children. Well, but, this is what I want to share with the audience is let's talk about results.
That's right.
I mean, the statistics that from your program are staggering. What is the percentage of children that started with you, have gone through EYM, who have graduated from a 4-year college? Not just high school, but a 4-year college.
82%.
That is staggering.
82% graduate 4-year colleges. But check this out. 12% attend 2-year colleges and transfer to 4-year colleges. 12%. And again, but that's because I decided one thing, even to the point where it's put me in debt personally. I decided the program is going to be first class. We're going to have a low turnover. Our turnover is only 12%. 12% is the highest turnover. Our turnover is very, very low. And that includes those moving on to colleges. But our turnover is so low. But that's because the kids stay. And one of the things that I decided is that the program, making certain that the foundation was strong, was going to be the priority. The foundation had to be strong because now, with a strong foundation, my staff, the directors, I'm getting older. I don't move the way I used to. I'm not as swift as I used to be. And I now have these wonderful young people who can come behind me, who can keep this going. That was important to me. But again, it's because I focused on programs first. But unfortunately, and I understand when they are responsible for giving away other people's money and they have to answer to people, they must keep that paper trail. I understand that and I respect that. All I am saying is, please be open, be diverse. Know that there are programs like mine that our maximum is going to be 265 that we may see that year, but we're going to hang on to 125. And we want to hang on to that same 125, 145 until they graduate college, we want to be in their lives until they graduate colleges. So why can't that be what's most important?
That standard of why isn't that the
standard by which we gauge? I remember one funder actually said to me when we received the $1 million grant, she actually said, I'll never forget it. She denies it now, but she made a comment. She said, well, I really hope you're going to know what to do with it. She said that to me. I'll never forget it. I will never forget it, and I will never forget her. And it's okay. And now what happened was, once COVID-19, we had already developed our online program.
Well, that's what I really want to get to, because we're going to deal with this numbers game, because this is a program that there's no reason why this cannot be nationwide. And I think you now have the platform. And when I first met you, that platform was in development. And I remember coming to your offices, the old offices on Wilshire. And why don't you share a little bit about the new platform, online platform, and how it came about? Because I think some of your students were involved in developing.
10 years ago, 10 years ago, a couple of my students, and I can call their first names, Todd and Adam. I approached them about an online piece. And so I wanted to develop an online curriculum for early learners that was really first class. I wanted to develop resources, community resources where people can go and access information based on their zip code. They can just get this information, get resources. Also develop build our own EYM Live, which is basically our own Zoom, where we were tutoring kids 10 to 1 10 years ago. So 10 kids online with a teacher. We developed, Mr. Craig built that. And then we had a hub. We called it EYM Hubs. There are 10 or 11 of them, from sports, arts, and entertainment, all the way to international trade. And underneath each of those hubs are 200, 300, 400, 500 listings of jobs.
Wow.
How much you can get paid, where they're located, who are the top 10 people who are at the top of their game in that field, what schools you should attend to study that particular trade. You know, things like if you wanted, I have all these kids who want to go into medicine, right? Kids who want to play basketball. All the black boys gonna be a basketball player. Right? Could you imagine if LeBron James and Anthony sat in front of these kids and said, look, guys, and their managers, okay, because they also know what's going on in these communities in terms of these careers. There are so many jobs other than, if you really want to be in the game, there are jobs you can take that from agents, you know, to writers, there are so many jobs in the field of sports that you will probably be excellent at, but they've got to have those conversations. Now, coming from an educator, they receive it one way. Imagine talent. The executives of Google, the executives of Netflix. Imagine the wonderful players who are building schools, who have the passion for this. Yeah. You must have that passion, though. They can talk and articulate the need and reach these kids. Imagine, since they can't find the world, what if we bring the world to them? What if we bring the world into their bedrooms, into their homes, and say, hey, guess what? And we're telling you, right? Then after we give you this information, then you have an opportunity to actually research the information and actually find opportunities. Do you know how many kids would go into colleges with already ideas of what they want to study and what is possible for them? The kids with varied learning abilities, those who are a lot more comfortable with their hands, they love building things. Kids who are very visual, they love color, they get excited about it, and they want to be a part of it and jump in it, you know? I have experienced all of that. What if we bring this world to them? I just partnered with a very wonderful company. I have fallen madly in love with them, 2 of them. One does the immersive labs, and the other company that's international, they do the augmented reality series. Imagine taking these kids to places that they could not have imagined. One of the augmented reality pieces, a kid can sit in their room and actually enter the world. Imagine kids who wants to go into medicine, and they enter the augmented reality world, and there's a body. And they can take the parts of the body and really study and learn and be encouraged. Enter space labs, can take a jet engine apart, but really, and it's one-on-one, it's just them. And no one's judging them. No one's saying whether or not they have to look or whether or not they were properly attired, whether or not their dress code, whether or not they're none of that. They can sit and learn and grow and develop. That's what I had in my community. And my determination is, and I am so grateful to have such a wonderful partner, my husband, where he agrees with me and he works with me, where I have decided that as long as there is breath in my body, whatever resources, given patience and love, whatever tools we can find, if we have to counsel kids, sometimes I'll have a mother who's abusing a child. You can't do that. That's not an answer. If they're hungry, we feed them. I've got 2 kitchens on this campus, 2 kitchens, because I don't want a hungry child. So, but again, that's what we must do in terms of coming together. The online piece is a piece. It's an extension of what we do on site. And it gives them even more opportunities, I think, even more opportunities. But we've got to give it to them, and we've got to give it to them with class and with dignity. We must give them equity with dignity. To not equity because you're Black or you're Latino or you're Asian, but you give equity with dignity, because I think that is deserved. Everyone deserves that.
Yes.
And someone gave
people
it to
are
me.
looking for an opportunity.
They are.
When you grow up in a disadvantaged situation, and that's where I think, not to be judgmental, but some of the racism, and I think well-meaning, we have institutional racism, which is one of the things that is probably the most difficult to overcome. Then there's individual people who grew up hating someone who's not like them. But then I think, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, the thought has occurred to me in my own life in the last couple of weeks. I've been asking myself, even though I don't consider myself racist, I question, well, maybe there's some part of me that is holding some beliefs that may be somewhat racist, and I don't, it would be at an unconscious level. So, I guess it's veering off a little bit from education, but how do we as a nation come together and bridge these diverse ways of thinking and develop some compassion for the other person? Because, as my mom used to say all the time, there but the grace of God goes me, and
that's such that is an absolutely important question. And the only way I can answer that, and I can only answer in terms of what's worked for me. We have leaders in this country, and they're making decisions. But we must vote. Where they are has a lot of times to do with us, because we did not vote, or we did, and we went in a certain direction. My attitude is, could you imagine if we always start with us first? Let me just start with me. I can only fix me. If I think of me in terms of fixing me and making me better, but I want to help you. So when I extend that hand and point that finger to help you, there's a finger always pointing back that says you got to help yourself. So in helping you, I've got to help myself in order to make that happen. You helped me. You're helping me, empowered me, but it then turned around and enabled me to come and do this with you, and hopefully extending the message you are now standing with Brand Aid and with your Revolution podcast. It's that cycle that we must continue very positively, and not to disrespect our leaders. Because I work with children, I am very careful. But it's okay if we have a situation and we know that certain people are not very bright. It's okay. But we've got to make a decision, and we've got to say, okay, that was not a very good answer, not a very smart thing to do. So I don't think I'm going to go in that direction. And then, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We've got to because we've got to be very careful that we don't take this hard stance in terms of judging people to a point where we can't come together. And that's what I'm afraid of. That's why we've got to be careful from even judging our president. Whomever raised him, what we see, he wasn't born that way. This is coming from years of his development.
Yes.
So that's his methodology and his culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we've got to put that over there, identify it, leave it there, and keep moving forward. But we've got to keep moving forward, because when we reach back trying to hit a man on his head, you know the energy this costs?
Yes.
Look at this. When I'm here swinging back here trying to get you it keeps me from doing what? Coming forward.
Exactly.
It takes my energy. I need to actually turn and actually extend myself. And that's that entire mentality. And that's what I believe. I literally had to terminate a very brilliant staff because this person said to me, stay in your lane. You need to stay in your lane. Those were the words that devastated me. Stay in your lane. This was years ago. Stay in your lane. What in the world does that mean? Had I taken that stance in Memphis, Tennessee, when we were living on government cheese and welfare, and my mother was raising her girls in the project with $50 a week, stay in my lane? Come on. And I can tell you, I to this day, I'm so grateful to him, because that motivated me to the extent.
It motivated you to change.
So he was telling me to stay my black butt in my lane. I said, oops, I'm sorry.
He said, you don't know me yet.
So that's something
that's an interesting topic. That's a whole other topic, which I was going to ask you, because, let's face it, I can relate to this because I, as a white woman going to law school, there weren't many women even at that point in law school when I graduated. There were some, but the idea of social justice or equal rights was for the women to picket the fact that the Bar Association was having its luncheons at the Playboy Club in Denver, which I remember was quite typical back in that day. But, no one ever really got down to the real issues underlying it. So I would just like to ask you, I know I had my share of challenges, trying to leave Louisiana, work my way through high school, undergraduate, law school. I mean, I had more jobs than I literally worked 3 and 4 jobs at a time, and I slept 3 to 4 hours a night for years on end. But I'd like to just ask you, from just an individual personal standpoint, what is it like to be a woman of color? I mean, being white, the white person I am, I've experienced a lot of prejudice as a woman, where it's like, who do you think you are? What makes you think you're worth that much? You're welcome to represent the people who can't pay, because, the stuff that makes money, we're not going to give it to you. You're a woman. Right. So, but I mean, as a Black woman, how do you navigate which is which at any given point in time? Is it racial bias, or is it female, or a little bit of both?
Okay. It's definitely both, and it varies. Under one circumstance, we may have one condition, and being Black, it truly is in your face first. First, you're Black, and then the woman. Then there are other situations where it's about being the woman, because the people you are around are very open-minded, are very fair, and it's all about the issue, what it is we are dealing with, what we're trying to decide. So then it's simply about being the issue, and then I deal with it as a woman, given how I feel, because I am who I am, also given my sexuality, and then being Black comes next. But there are a lot of situations. But this is what's interesting. For me, I'm not speaking for anyone else, but for me, when it comes to being a woman of color, when I have to defend myself and deal with that first, or handle a particular situation from a Black perspective, it's because the others are forcing, I'm being forced to do so.
Yes.
I'm being pushed in that direction, because my issue is going to be, I'm going to be concerned about that child, about the needs of that child, the needs of that parent, the needs of, it's so interesting. One of my kids, his name was Adam, and also who built the Access, one of the young men who built EYM Live. And I remember when his mother brought him to me, he was 12 years of age. And when she brought him to me, she said, now they're putting him in classes and they're going to type him, and I don't want that to happen. And I heard you can help me with my child. I said, you know, the first thing I said to her, I said, well, you know, I'm Black, right? And she said, I can see that. That was the first time, one of my first encounters that taught me so much, when I was the one putting that first. She did not, because they were, of course, not Black. And again, it depends on the situation. It is going to vary. What I know that I can say in terms of being a Black woman is, I love it. I love being a Black woman. I think it's the sexiest. I do, because it's like we're like a huge question mark for a lot of people, you know? Well, what are they really like? Well, how do they, well, is that, I mean, I have had situations, everything from touching my weave, questions of getting in water, the size of my hips, is it fake? I mean, some really interesting topics when I was younger. So I've learned, my mother taught me to embrace that and to embrace who I am. And I have to give her that credit. And I love the sexuality. I love, you know, it's so interesting. When I get a tan, and I only notice it for like a couple hours, and then
well, I've always wanted to know: do Black people tan?
Oh, well, we come in so many shades.
Exactly.
So when I was younger, I thought this was like a really hip thing to do. But again, it takes time to become comfortable with who you are, your identity. If we can teach all of our young Black girls to wear that with pride and grace, could you imagine? And to work together. You know, the most difficult experiences, the challenges for nonprofits, and I'll say this, and that's working with other nonprofits.
How so?
Collaborations when you're working with low income, at-risk kids, because it's very difficult and it's challenging, and we're all fighting for the same $2 that they've allocated. You know, these foundations, well, they've allocated 10% to go here, and so then they select their, you know, this is their organization of color for the day, for the week. This is their Hispanic organization for the, you know, and it's what I would like to see is that they look at the need, look at what's going on in our society, and then address the ones who are moving, given what's going on, given the temperature at that moment. That's what I would like to see. I would love to see that. What is going on in our world right now? How many people and families and kids are we losing right now? How can we stop that? What are the programs that are moving in that direction?
Well, in my humble opinion, EYM is one of those. And it's about time the world knew more about it, because, you know, I, as a citizen, I don't mind paying my taxes. I don't jump up and down about it, but I would like to see that some of my tax dollars are going for something beyond building more bombs and pork barrel for people in certain congressional districts, and that actually that if there's going to be funds allocated, it's going to be something that's boots on the ground that is going to make a difference in changing children's lives.
Absolutely. And if I may say this before we close, I do want to say this. We were on Wilshire.
I remember.
About 10,000 square feet of space on Wilshire. And our rent had gotten up to 15,980, and then it was going up. She said it was worth 20,000 a month. So we couldn't handle the increases. Couldn't handle it. And so, but let me tell you how powerful the community is. And I'm referring to a community of Black, white, yellow, and blue. Everyone came together for EYM. This was in the end of May, and we had April and May. What comes after May? March, April, May, June, right? So we kept getting ready for the summer, but we still had a month and a half left of school, and we had nowhere to go. I shared this with my pastor, a faith-based organization, who said, we have a home. The church owns property. If you'd like to be there, to finish your classes, but we've got to have the building back at a certain time. I said, that's fine. That'll get us through the school year. First, Cheryl, we were able to make that transition. We were able to pack all of that, find 7 storage units, and then that wasn't enough. We needed an entire floor, and we called a wonderful politician who made a phone call and got us a warehouse. So we were able to take all of the things we needed, put it in this warehouse, and move the classes into this house that was owned by my church. And we were able to finish our courses there. And then they shared, so we ran the tutorial out of that home, and we ran all of the administrative offices out of EYM. During that period, we had a month and a half before school would start again. We needed to find a space that would accommodate all of these kids within a month and a half. So I moved the administrative offices into my house. So
I'm not surprised.
into my home. All the administration was at my home, and all the classes were at that building. And Cheryl, we never missed a class. And then my pastor, the church, came again and said, we have a place on Crenshaw. Come and take a look at it. He called my husband and I. I just have so much respect for this man and my church. He called my husband and I, and also politicians. There's just some great people out there supporting us. He called my husband and I. He said, come and look at it. We went to see it, and I was in tears. I said, I can't do anything with this. 16,000 square feet of space. I've got a month and a half. We'll have to gut this into one of the whole buildings. We got to gut it, right? I would say, we don't have the money for that. We don't have the funds, right? My husband turned to me and said, Angela, you started this company with 2 kids. You have a Rolodex that people would envy. But I don't like asking. I'm bad at asking. I never should run a nonprofit because I'm horrible at asking for money.
Yeah, but you're great at teaching kids.
Horrible. I can teach kids. So we called them, Cheryl. I called my producer of my annual events, right? We had just finished an event where we honored a wonderful man from the Grammys. Wonderful man, one kind man. So I started calling people. And my producer said, Angelise, let me call my contractor. Let me bring him to the site. The next morning, we were here. Everyone was here. They looked at the place. The contractor said, you're going to need about $150,000 to get this ready. I said, well, I've got $2,800.
How much would that work?
$2,800. Okay. I started talking about the program, our history. I said, listen, I can draw this out. I see how this building, we have to gut it. Right? He gave me a pencil and a piece of paper. He said, draw your vision out right now. Cheryl, and this is the truth. I took a pencil and paper, and with Tim standing right there, I drew out all of the space, where I wanted the classrooms, where I wanted the computer labs, where the kitchens would go, the bathrooms, first and second floor, right? He said, okay, I tell you what. Then he said to me, if you can raise $30,000 just for the demolition, he said, if you can raise $30,000 within 1 week, I know you can raise the rest to get this done. But we need about a month and a half. But we're going to be pushing it. I went into tears. I made 2 phone calls. 2 calls. One wasn't available. I just left a message. The other, she picked up the phone. I told her what was happening. I had $30,000 in 2 days. We put the $30,000 in the bank, did the contract, and the rest is history. This space. So I know what is possible again when we all come together. And that was the community of politicians, of teachers, of parents, of kids. We sold hot dogs. We sold sandwiches. We had those Ethiopian plates. Oh, I've fallen in love with Ethiopian food, by the way. We had this.
I hear it's good. I haven't tried it.
Oh, you got to try it.
Okay.
Well, I'll take you to one of my favorite restaurants.
Okay.
Okay. And they all came together. And now we have this beautiful, incredible facility. So again, that is the spirit in which I work. That is the mission. All of us coming together with love and peace, helping one another as much as we can. And those who are negative, who don't have the compassion in the heart that we have, we must forgive them and keep moving it forward. I'll say it again. We must forgive them and keep moving it forward. We cannot live in the bitterness. We cannot. And the hate.
Well, I want to thank you because I think that's a great place to end on a high note, sister. And before we go, I want you to let the audience know 2 things. Number one, if they're so inclined to assist in some way and make some contribution to EYM, how would they reach you? And number 2, if they wanted to learn more about the programs and the educational aspects, how would they learn about EYM?
Okay. Well, first we have a website, www.educatingyoungminds.org. So educatingyoungminds.org. And I know you'll list that.
We'll put that in what they call the show notes. So it'll be in writing underneath your bio.
And there we have a beautiful yellow donate button. So yes, we have 2 missions right now. We are launching the online, because I do not believe that we're going to be back in session on sites in September. I don't see that, or August. I think we're going to still be online. And so what we're doing is providing all kinds of resources and tools for these kids online to keep them busy, and also to give parents a break, because our parents are overwhelmed. So to also do that. So we're doing that. And also we have kids in colleges. One of our missions is to restart our college scholarship fund, because we do have kids who won't go to a 4-year college because the loans are so huge, so massive. So they go into 2 years.
Financing of public education now.
Yes, it's crazy. Insane. So yes, educatingyoungminds.org. Our number 323-840-3556. So she'll put that.
And aren't you doing a launch, or we are more information and share it? So
we are. We have a wonderful entertainment company, Treadwell Entertainment Group, and they've come forward and they are putting together this unbelievable list of scholars and celebrities and talent and artists, business leaders, entrepreneurs. I mean, computer tech, so many. And they are now putting together a webinar series, 45 minutes long, where we're asking you to just share that world and become the teachers for these kids. Talk to these kids, inspire these kids. So our summer program, with the webinar series starts the week of July 6th. Our eventual goal, a 12-month eventual goal, is to reach 350,000 kids. That's our goal, to reach 350,000 high school kids, give them so much information, just information. They'll actually get an opportunity to select 2 of 10 hubs. And within those 2 hubs, those who say, well, I want to be in medicine, or I want to be in agriculture, I want to be a scientist, but they can select 2 of the 10 hubs and actually interact with people from those fields, learn career opportunities, and if they're having problems in math and English, calculus, geometry, if they're having problems, guess what? We will teach them online. All they've got to do is register online, and every time you register, you will be with a teacher for each of your sessions, an hour and 15 minutes long. That is what we're building. And guess what? It's free. So if you are in need, we want to give you those resources and let you know the world is available. It's your world. It's yours. And we need you to be okay. We need our young people to be okay.
We need you, Angelise. And I want to, before we close, I just want to share with the audience, for those of you who are on the video, this is a picture from the, LA magazine, I think.
LA Weekly.
LA Weekly, excuse me, I got the wrong media there, but LA Weekly with you and some of the kids from EYM. And I just want you to know that
Berkeley, UCLA.
Oh, wait, really?
I mean, it's crazy. I'm going to be in tears.
Well, I already am in tears. I'm touched beyond.
Look at those.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making time to speak with me, because I feel very honored and privileged to have had you on my show. And I feel that I just like to close by saying that, Brand-Aid may not seem like the obvious title, and it's a fairly new show, but my mission when I use our evolution is, I believe that what matters is anybody who's successful in the world that creates something that has a major impact is they start out with some sort of revolution. It doesn't mean in the streets. It means revolution in an industry and addressing a need and evolving our society and the customers they serve into a higher level and a different place. And that's exactly what you are doing. And you've proven it because you're not talking about it, honey. You've given your life for 33 years. So,
well, please know I'm not doing it by myself. I have a beautiful board of directors, a beautiful board of a beautiful group of children, wonderful parents, and a beautiful community like you. So we can do this. Let's make it happen, because those are all really great young people. Great young people.
I know they are. And
beautiful
we love
young
you.
people.
And you know what? We're going to have you back. In fact, if it's okay, I would like to put you on the spot before we go. I'd like to come over to EYM and we could do a live session where
I would love it.
Tour the facilities and meet some of the kids. Wouldn't that be fun?
We would love it. Absolutely.
That would be awesome. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Be safe and be well.
Angelise Echols is the founder and CEO of Educating Young Minds based in Los Angeles. EYM has helped change the lives of thousands of disadvantaged children of color through education, encouragement, and caring. EYM is a nonprofit providing support, nurturing, mentoring, and tutoring, that which has been sorely lacking in public education for decades. Have you protected your big ideas? Is your online business built on a strong legal and business foundation? To learn more about the legal protection you need for your online business and how to use intellectual property to leverage the growth and profitability of your business, check out our new mini-sode series, Built to Last. I'll be sharing what I've learned during my business and legal career and how you can use those lessons to build a lasting legacy for your own business. So join me for my solo flight on the Brand-Aid Built to Last mini-sodes.
That's it for today's episode. Head on over to brandaidpodcast.com and subscribe to the show. When you subscribe, you'll instantly receive Cheryl's free special gift, Consumer Guide to Trademark Registration Services. This consumer guide will help ensure your most valuable business assets are entrusted to professionals. Make certain you're on the path to a business and brand built to last. Join our Brand Aid community on the Podopolo mobile app to win prizes, products, and cool free resources to help you grow your business. And also connect with Cheryl and your friends. Podopolo is free on the Apple and Google App Stores, and when you go to brandaidpodcast.com/win and post a review to iTunes, you'll be entered into a drawing to win a once-in-a-lifetime VIP Brand Aid opportunity to mastermind with Cheryl personally to grow and scale your business, or to select, secure, and sustain a valuable brand name for your business. That's Podopolo on the Apple and Google App Stores. Download it now.